if you have a problem with a dog that is digging into the trash can and you're thinking this dog eats food that is more expensive per pound than half of the food that I eat, and he's still digging through the garbage and he's fat, so he's not hungry, don't worry, you are not alone. This is a very common problem. And generally speaking, it is because your dog is bored. He doesn't like his food being plopped in front of him. He's not appreciative, you know? He hasn't come home from a long day's work and he's getting a nice, you know, home-cooked meal in front of him and he's like, thank you, dear. That's not happening. He's just like, nah, it's not fun. He has a need, a drive to get out there and hunt and forage. His foraging skills are really bad and they mostly are foraging into the bathroom trash can and taking out pieces of tissue and just killing that tissue all over your house. And he thinks he's done a good job and you're annoyed. And that happens a lot, a lot, a lot. And it can be dangerous if the dog gets into a trash can and gets a hold of carcass, bones, toxic items. I mean, there's all kinds of things in there that the dog can get really, really sick on. So you really need to nip this in the bud. So, first way, set your dog up for success. Contain the trash cans. Put them into cupboards. Get them hidden. Make your kids close the door to the bathroom. They won't ever do that. You'll just say it 1,000 times and they'll keep leaving the door to the bathroom open. So keep telling them to leave the door to the bathroom closed. And also, maybe put a hinge on the door that makes the door close itself kind of after people walk out. That is really useful. You can also put the trash can in a cupboard. Like if you have a cupboard that you can close it in, that's the way that I do. Whenever you have a dog in the house, it's really good to teach your kids to shut all the doors behind them anyway. So I follow my kids around telling them to close doors a lot, but I mean, I also follow them around telling them like brush their teeth and wash your hands, and they still don't do it unless I badger them. So you cannot expect your children to remember to close the door to the bathroom and stop the dog from getting into the toilet paper. So put it away, get it out of his reach, you know, set him up for success. Don't leave something in front of him that he is just like, oh, like tissue. This is my favorite thing. Oh my gosh, I love killing tissue. I don't know why they like it, but they do. It's just tissue is the best. And I know dogs that are like connoisseurs, like some only like the tissue, like the Kleenex, and some like toilet paper, and some just go absolutely bananas over paper towels. So, and the stinkier the item is, the worse. So keep them out of the bathroom. You do not want that to happen. Like, I cannot tell you how many times I've gotten the story of, I was having a party. And also, my dog brought something really disgusting from my bathroom out into the party in front of my mother-in-law. You know, and it's just been like, I am so fed up with this dog. Like, how did that happen? Yeah, please put your trash can out of his reach. Throw stinky things directly outside. Just immediately, just get them out of the house. You really should do that anyway, to be honest. So, especially in a bathroom, small area, you know, closed up. But your guests don't necessarily do that, right? And that is an issue sometimes. You've got guests over and you don't want to put the trash can in a cupboard and they can't find it. Label things, man. If you've got guests over and you think that they might not know where the trash can is and they might need to use it, just stick a label on the cupboard that says bathroom, trash can. Not bathroom, obviously, but trash can, and then that will help, you know, it's just temporary. Or take it out and put it up on the counter if you are lucky and have a ginormous bathroom with all that beautiful counter space, which if you do, the counter space is probably all full of your kids' stuff anyway, and then there is no counter space, so stick it in a cupboard and put a label on it. Now, the other thing apart from excluding the trash, and for the kitchen trash, again, same thing, cupboard. And if you can't fit the trash can in the cupboard because it's a giant trash can because your family is disgusting like mine, you need to get a trash can with a lid. And if you have a very clever dog, you might need to get a trash can with a lid that is baby proof, because otherwise you're going to be fighting that fight. Now, in general, if you have a dog that's doing things like surfing counters, climbing up on tables, digging into trash, the root of the problem is not the temptation. Because temptation is always going to be around your dog. You want your dog to not be tempted by it. Why is it so tempting for them to hop up on the table and see what they can find? And of course, again, that helps if you make sure that the table stays cleared, make sure that the counters stay pretty clear, you know, it's hard to get the kids to put their stuff away when they're done with dinner or whatever meal it is, right? Or especially if it's in the middle of the day and you're not there to nag the heck out of him to get him to do it. You don't want an issue of, you got to always tuck the chairs in, or the dog is going to jump on the chair and jump on the table. I've heard it all. It is such a fight. It's such a mess. Everybody gets mad at each other and blames each other. Look, you got to keep the dog off the table. You got to keep the dog out of the garbage can. What you need to do is have a dog that is not interested in that because he's getting his needs met in another way. So stop giving your dog food in a bowl. He does not get free food ever, never again. Your dog wants to work for his food. That's what he wants. So what he's doing is he's finding ways to do it that you don't like. So you need to give him ways to do it that you approve of. So get puzzles. There are lots and lots of puzzles that you can get that you can hide the kibble in. And then they have to forage through, figure it out, smack it around. And don't worry, your dog won't not figure it out. Yeah, he'll figure it out. I mean, there are very few that are so difficult that the dog doesn't figure them out. And if it seems too easy, it's really not. If the dog can like move it around and get his food within 5 minutes, that's fine. It's also really easy to reach into a trash can and get a thing, but it still makes them really happy. I wish I was that easy to please. Anyway, so you can just get them all kinds of puzzle toys. You can get what's called a Snuffle Mat, and you can also make one for pretty inexpensively for not a lot of money. And essentially that's just like a big fleece mat with like tiny fleece pieces all over it so that you can put the kibble in there and kind of hide it, and the dog has to sniff it out, which is really good if you're training a dog for their sense of smell, right? It's good puppy training for dogs that are going to be like search and rescue dogs and stuff like that. But it does give them the opportunity to kind of dig through it, and you could make it if you had a lot of patience or slave labor. Snuffle mats, puzzle toys, find things for them to do to feel like they have to find their food. Even if you're letting them know that you're going to play a game of find the food, you could actually have your dog lay down or hang out with somebody and sit down, and you can go all around the house and hide the dog food. Make it easy at first. And that's completely free. That takes like 5 minutes. You just take their bowl of kibble and just put it all over the place. Let your dog find it. You really don't want to teach your dog to eat food off the floor. Like, ooh, I found it, I'm eating it. But even, you have to really train a dog pretty well to get them to not do that anyway. And to be honest, most dogs in most families do. A lot of people just, the dog's the vacuum. Like if the kids drop the food or whoever, it's the dog's territory. And so that's not really an issue. And then they just work on the dog not being permitted to eat anything on the floor outside. And the dog is able to kind of know the difference, or when you're outside, you're on a leash anyway. So that's up to you if you don't want the dog eating things when he finds it. A good way, though, of kind of maybe putting a separation between just randomly eating things off the floor that you find is making it a game. It is saying, you want to play find the food? We're going to play find the food. Now you got to sit down and either have somebody hold the dog if he's not really good at a sit, you know, or down stay, and then he's going to watch you. Let him watch you while you hide it all over right in front of him at first. And just hide the kibble right in front of him all over the place. And then you say, oh, are you going to find it? You're going to find the food? And get him really revved up. Like, oh, we're going to find the food. It's dinner time. You got to work it, you know. Put it all over the place. And let him find the food. And then he'll get his entire meal by actually finding it. And even if it just doesn't take very long, it's something. It's something to give him a little bit of work. And then also increase your training. Increase how much time you're working on training the dog. He needs more mental stimulation. They need to think a little more. So that helps. It just makes them feel a little more accomplished. I guess it gives them the brain hormones and those neurotransmitting hormones that they need to feel happy. And they do have to get, you know, they got to get some of that stuff. And if they just get everything given to them, they don't get it. So, you know, it's just like people, like we have to work. Like, you know, if you've just taken some time off and you do absolutely nothing for a little while, you're like, I got to get up and do something. Like I've got to finish a job. I got to go wash some dishes or something so that I feel like useful. And then when you're done, you're like, oh, I did it. You get that feeling of those neurotransmitters kind of getting released. Dogs, same way. They're very similar to humans. So train your dog more, work with your dog, get his brain going, get your communication going, give him more to do. And if you're not exercising enough, exercise more. And if you're not giving him enough things to just kind of chew on, because dogs really like to be busy and to just chew, get him more bully sticks or antlers or Himalayas or whatever he likes to chomp on. And I know that can be kind of difficult because they can be expensive, and that's not always possible, especially right now. Things have been pretty tough on people. You can always go down to the butcher and ask for, you know, a big giant bone. A lot of butchers will sell them for really, really cheap. Stew bones are just like big giant bones that have names that are slipping my mind right now. And you can just go get those, and you can give those to your dog raw. Because they'll be soft enough that the dog is not going to get splinters from it. The only issue with that is that, you know, it is a piece of raw meat, and you can also put it on a towel, because I'm really fussy, so it'll be on a towel, or put the dog in a playpen on a hard surface, and then when he's done with it for a little while, you can stick it in a freezer bag and put it in the freezer and give it back to him in a couple days or whatever, and then you can just disinfect the floor. I know it's a lot of work, but you got to do what you got to do, and times are tough, and I get that. Another good thing that you can do is put the dog's canned food, put canned food into a Kong toy and freeze it. And then the dog will have to work on that for a while. And on hot days, it's really fun to like freeze broth. I will freeze chicken broth, freeze beef broth, if I can say that right. You can make purees of things, like people will make pumpkin ones, or you can make, you know, sweet potato ones. Some dogs really like vegetables and they'll go crazy for it. Some dogs are picky little divas like mine, and you give them something like that and give them ice cubes of those things and put them outside, and the dog will just chase them all over the patio and, you know, chomp them down, and it just gives them a lot of fun and something to do for a while. And that's nice because it doesn't make a giant mess. So that one's a good go. So basically, give your dog more to do, keep him out of your trash cans, and that's pretty much it. So that's sort of a quick dog tip. I have no outro. See you next time.